Donald Trump today vowed to impose a 200% tariff on John Deere's imports.
Just back in June, John Deere announced that they were relocating specific production lines to facilities in Mexico. Now, Donald Trump disagreed with this decision and left a significant threat that would ultimately affect the company's bottom line.
I'm just notifying John Deere right now. If you do that, we're putting a 200% tariff on everything that you want to sell into the United States.
John Deere just made a move that sent shockwaves through Washington and lit up trading desks from Wall Street to Sao Paulo, an announcement that on paper looked like a strategic expansion. But in reality, it cracked open a much bigger fight, one that touches everything from trade policy and political loyalty to the future of labor itself. The company confirmed plans to expand operations into Mexico, not someday, not in theory, but right now, with a brand new manufacturing facility breaking ground and scheduled to go live by the year 2026. And the response explosive. Before we continue, hit that like button to help us beat the YouTube algorithm and to show your support. Donald Trump wasted no time. President Donald Trump got upset and tore into the company on live television, calling it an act of betrayal. And then he dropped the hammer, a threat to slap a 200% tariff on every single Deere product built outside of American borders. The message was clear: if you take jobs out, we will make sure your products never come back in without paying a political price. The media pounced. Investors held their breath, and rural America watched from the sidelines, caught in the middle of a war between the man they vote for and the company they depend on. This was not just a headline, it was a reckoning. Deere's decision was not made lightly. Behind closed doors, board members had debated the move for months. They had data, they had projections, and they had pressure, because the numbers did not lie. The cost to manufacture equipment in the United States had ballooned. Supply chains were clogged. Labor was scarce and competitors were getting faster, cheaper, smarter. Companies like Kubota in Japan and Mahindra in India had already perfected low-cost manufacturing across Asia. Deere was playing catch-up, and the solution: Mexico, a country with 70% lower labor costs, a skilled workforce, and logistical access to booming agricultural markets in Latin America. But it was not just about payroll, it was about survival. U.S. ports were congested, domestic freight was erratic, raw materials were delayed, and every disruption was costing Deere time and money. A facility in Mexico gave them flexibility, speed, and proximity to the fastest-growing farming economies in the world: Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, markets where agriculture is not just expanding, it is exploding. So Deere made the call: a $55 million investment, a state-of-the-art facility to build mid-frame skid steer loaders and compact track loaders, machines that serve the fastest-growing segment of the agricultural market: small to mid-size farms, the kind that need tech, efficiency, speed, and most of all, affordability. For Deere, this was not betrayal, it was strategy. But for Trump, it was personal. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button to show your support to the channel. He stood behind a podium in Iowa and thundered, "John Deere just spit in the face of American workers. They want to build our machines somewhere else. Fine, but they will not bring them back here without paying dearly." It was red meat for the base, but it was also something else. It was a warning shot to Deere, to other manufacturers, to the market. Trump was drawing a line in the sand, and anyone who crossed it would pay a political price. But the company did not blink. There was no apology, no backpedaling. Deere issued a measured but clear response. The Mexico expansion would affect less than 5% of North American production. The core of its business, large tractors, harvesters, combines, would still be made in Iowa, Illinois, and other U.S. factories. They were not abandoning America, they were optimizing for the world. And then came the investor response. Wall Street held the line. After a brief dip, Deere's stock rebounded. Analysts from Bloomberg and Goldman Sachs called the move smart, forward-looking, and necessary. The logic was unassailable. Growth in farming demand was shifting south. Production needed to match that shift. And politically driven tariffs, they could hurt in the short term, but not enough to derail a multi-decade growth strategy. In fact, some insiders believe Trump's threats are helping Deere in disguise, because if tariffs are imposed, they will hit all foreign producers. And Deere, even with its Mexico expansion, still builds the majority of its product in the United States. Competitors like Mahindra, Yanmar, and Kubota, they do not. So, ironically, the tariff blowback could be worse for Deere's rivals. But none of that mattered in the court of public opinion. Rural voters, especially in swing states, began to split. In Facebook groups and talk radio call-ins, the conflict played out like a family argument. One side defended Deere as a vital business trying to adapt. The other demanded loyalty, framing the move as a slap in the face. Trump's allies in Congress joined the chorus. Senators from deep red states issued statements warning Deere to reconsider its path. The House Agriculture Committee scheduled hearings. The White House floated the idea of investigating government contracts to ensure no taxpayer dollars go to Deere imports. Behind the scenes, Deere's lobbyists went into overdrive. They met with trade officials. They pitched congressional staffers. They reminded everyone that John Deere is not just a brand, it is a cornerstone of U.S. agriculture. That rural infrastructure depends on their equipment. That banning it or taxing it into oblivion would punish the very farmers the tariffs are meant to protect. And still Trump escalated. He repeated his threat at a rally in Ohio. He named Deere 5 times. He vowed to impose tariffs so high they will never forget. The crowd roared. But Deere was not alone. Other corporations were watching. If Deere caved, the message would be clear. No company could operate globally without facing political punishment. But if Deere held firm, it could set a precedent, a new line. One where business leaders make decisions based on data, not campaign threats. And so far, Deere is holding. Meanwhile, the company is not just thinking about where it builds. It is thinking about what it builds. The future of agriculture is not red, white, or green. It is electric. It is autonomous. It is smart. Deere's investment in automation is enormous. Its autonomous tractors are already working. U.S. fields with no drivers. Its software division is developing artificial intelligence systems that manage entire farms from a tablet. Drones scout for pests. Machines spray with centimeter precision. Data flows in real time. And the real kicker, these machines do not care where they were built. They only care how fast they can work, how efficient they can be. Which brings us back to the myth Trump keeps selling, the promise of returning jobs. It sounds powerful. It wins applause. But in the world of modern manufacturing, it does not hold up. Because even if Deere moved every factory back to Iowa tomorrow, the jobs would not go to people. They would go to machines. Automation is not political. It is mathematical. According to Oxford Economics, up to 20 million manufacturing jobs could disappear globally by the year 2030 due to robots. And the trend is accelerating. Deere is not avoiding American labor. It is confronting a future where labor as we know it does not exist. In this light, the Mexico move is not just economic, it is evolutionary. It is a signal that the age of geography is giving way to the age of technology. And that is what makes this conflict so symbolic. On one side, a populist president promising to bring back a world that no longer exists. On the other, a global company preparing for a world that has already arrived. It is nostalgia versus innovation, emotion versus execution. And somewhere in the middle stands the American farmer trying to figure out who to trust. So what happens next? That depends on you. Will voters punish Deere for making a move it believes will keep it alive? Or will they punish Trump for risking access to the very equipment that keeps American fields running? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this fight is not just about tariffs, it is about the future. If you found this breakdown helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives like this one. Stay sharp, stay curious, and remember the machines are coming, but politics, they're already here.